And we are live. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Welcome. We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. And today I'm riding solo dolo. Billy's got some stuff to take care of, but we're not going to stop streaming. Today we got some major WWE and AEW talk. Shout out to everybody who is watching us live on YouTube and Twitch. I greatly appreciate you guys for pulling up. If you guys are joining us here on TikTok or on YouTube, if you guys could just show some love in the chat, man. Show some love in the chat because listen, we got to get back onto the live stream grind. There's a lot of things happening in professional wrestling, especially today. A major story coming out about an AEW lawsuit. We got to talk about this kind of stuff, man. It's really crazy. And I'll give you guys somewhat of a prediction as to what I think will happen. I want to show some love really quick to the people in TikTok: Aaron, Ice, Andy, David, Fisher of Men, Coke Boys, Ice Rem, Boston. Shout out to all of you, Michelle, Luis, Coda. I appreciate you guys all being here. I want to really make it a point. Not only am I active on YouTube, but I do want to be more active on TikTok across the live platform. I obviously upload tons of content on a daily basis. If you guys have questions, you know, on YouTube, guys, we have our super chat goal active. Questions and comments, anything that you want read on the stream, go ahead and consider dropping a super chat. It is really appreciated. As always, though, I will be pulling up the chat. So let's give a shout out to Wilson Torres, who comes through and he says, "Thanks, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good morning so far." Shout out to Wilson. I appreciate you. Guys, we got to talk about this AEW lawsuit because honestly, this is crazy. I did make a video on this a little bit earlier today, and I spoke about this a little bit, but I really want to talk about it more in depth because, quite frankly, this AEW lawsuit, it's, you know, some people are calling it a nothing burger. Some people are calling this lawsuit a very big deal. A lot of people are, you know, a lot of people don't think this is a situation where somebody's out just to get money, because if you look at the damages that the person's asking for, it's only like 25 grand. You would think if they're really trying to make money out of AEW, they would perhaps try to get more. But I want to read this to you guys, and we'll obviously talk about more things than just the AEW Jon Moxley lawsuit. And then, of course, as the show goes on, we will be addressing super chats. So a little bit of a new format for the live streams. This is all about engaging with you guys in the chat. So if you're in YouTube or on TikTok, I will be reading your guys' comments and, you know, your donations and all of that good stuff. So shout out to the chat. I want to show some love to the YouTube side as well. Darth Bane, Trey Lusado, Michael Graham, Jenny Oxton, Pete Rocks, Victor Arroyo, Darth Bane, definitely coming through in the chat. He says it's a nothing lawsuit. TK will settle and move on. Well, let's talk about the details of this lawsuit. This is pretty interesting, right? So, John Elba, Sports Illustrated, dropped a report. And in this report, there was a crew member that worked for AEW. His name was Christopher Dispenza, and he is suing AEW for negligence, assault, and battery. Now, guys, kind of to preface everything, it is June 16th, 2025. The incident actually happened in 2013. So let's just get that out of the way. 2013 is when the lawsuit or when this incident had happened. The lawsuit was filed on May 30th, 2025. So it's been 17 days since the lawsuit has been filed, and we have not heard about it until now. So, which is a very, very interesting point. And we got to address that, right? I think that's definitely part of the conversation here. So we will get into that. But this is what was claimed in the lawsuit. The lawsuit was filed on May 30th, 2025, claims that during a cage match between Moxley and Kenny Omega on May 10th, 2023, Moxley went off script and violently shoved Dispenza to the ground. Dispenza alleges that the unplanned fall resulted in severe neck and shoulder injuries that required him to undergo multiple surgeries. The filing accuses Moxley of civil assault and battery, and it further alleges that AEW was negligent in hiring and training Moxley, claiming that he has a history of disciplinary issues. Now, this is some interesting stuff because I have never seen reports or heard reports or anything of that sort when it comes to Jon Moxley having some sort of disciplinary issue. You never really hear of these things in reports or rumors or anything from the IWC. But this was an incident that took place 2 years ago, and all of a sudden it's being brought into a lawsuit. Now, the filing accuses. This part was the crazy part. The filing accuses Moxley of civil assault and battery. There is a clip surfacing online of the incident. Obviously, I cannot play it due to copyright issues. But if you guys go on X or TikTok, you guys will be able to see it. And essentially, when you look at this, when you look at the clip, I mean, it's just Jon Moxley being a heel. I don't know. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. However, I think that's a really crazy part when in the lawsuit it says that Moxley has a history of disciplinary actions. Because again, I don't think I've really seen that or heard of that. However, sources within AEW have quickly disputed that characterization of Moxley, telling the Takedown on Sports Illustrated that he is a respected locker room leader and that they were unaware of any past disciplinary problems. Okay, so I don't know really where that stems from. That's quite interesting, right? If he's got some sort of disciplinary issue, what exactly is that issue, right? What was that issue? I see Victor in the chat says it's a work. No, this is like a legitimate lawsuit. That's why this is such a groundbreaking story. Dispenza has now worked for AEW since December 2024. He claims that he reported the injury to AEW medical staff that night, but was later told he would no longer receive treatment from them. The lawsuit seeks compensation exceeding $25,000 for medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Now, some people believe that maybe this lawsuit is happening because of potentially, you're trying to be a money grab, right? However, if you're only seeking $25,000, I feel like that is relatively low in this particular situation. But I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Again, I'm not offering legal counsel advice or anything like that. I just don't know why somebody, like, if you're going to try to sue a billionaire for 25 grand, I feel like you could just automatically settle that with Tony Khan privately. Obviously, we don't know the details as far as, what AEW has done in this particular situation. I found it very interesting. The two parts I found the most interesting in regards to the story was the fact that it was said that Moxley has a history of disciplinary issues, because again, we don't really know. We don't really see reports. We don't really see talk of that. And then the other part that I thought was kind of interesting was the fact that he claims he reported the injury to AEW medical staff that night, but was later told he would no longer receive treatment from them. So who makes that executive decision, right? And I think that's one of those crazy things in professional wrestling. Things obviously go down, things happen. But when you see some sort of lawsuit like this being brought up, and then you see some of the stuff that is being said about, Jon Moxley or AEW, it's also lacking the detail. And it's very important that we all understand you really can't make judgments on AEW or Tony Khan on how they've handled this situation, because there's really no detail surrounding that. John Alba in Sports Illustrated didn't really include any sort of like description as to how Jon Moxley or Tony Khan has handled this since. And I think what makes this really crazy is the fact that it is 2025. This happened 2 years ago. Why wasn't this taken care of 2 years? Like, why wasn't this taken care of within the span of 2 years? I found that to be very interesting. I'm very curious to what you guys have to say in the chat. So I'm going to take a look, and we'll bring up the chat as we speak. I see some people in the chat. We got Pete Rocks in here. He says it's a money grab, which is interesting. I think that's a very weird way of doing I think that's a really weird way of trying to have a money grab. Like, for only 25,000, I feel like that's not very high of an amount. But yeah, that sounds crazy to me, in my opinion. David Decker says the Death Riders are the worst. If this lawsuit is true, this could hurt Moxley a lot. Well, I think there's a legal system for a reason. And look, I think things happen and people got to have some sort of intent, right? If you watch the clip, I don't think it looks like Jon Moxley's intentionally trying to hurt the crew member. And that was just one of the things that I noticed, personally speaking. was like it felt like when you watch the clip, it doesn't look like Moxley's like going out of his way to be, some sort of dickhead or whatever it may be. It just looks like he's in character. So I didn't really think too much of that. And that was something I really want to make pretty clear. But of course you never really know, right? Like in this particular situation, you don't know. You don't know what the context is, and there really isn't much context to that. Um, I see a lot of people in the chat also asking, like, or some people are saying hush money. Listen, I don't think we should really be comparing this to a Vince McMahon lawsuit. And I just want to be very clear on that. I really don't think that's fair. I think for WWE's situation with Vince McMahon and what's going on with AEW, they are just two very different lawsuits. I don't think that's fair to compare. I think two different situations, you know, we'll kind of have to leave it at that. We did get a super chat on YouTube, so I do want to pull that up really quick. I don't know if it has to do with this, but we got a £5 super chat from Seifa Malak. He says, I wonder how long Def Rebel has been under contract with WWE, as I really want to know. Yeah, I don't know. Def Rebel's in a weird situation. They pretty much suck when it comes to entrance music. I think that's very clear. Entrance music within WWE is terrible, so Def Rebel is just not really good. I don't like. I never really advocate. I don't advocate. Not never really. I don't advocate for. I don't advocate for people to be released or lose their jobs. But I think Def Rebel, if I was giving them like a job assessment, I think they have really failed and they are not good at what they do for WWE, and I don't think it really helps. I don't think it really helps at all in the slightest. So that is something I want to keep in mind. Shout out to Seifa Malak for the £5 super chat. I appreciate that, brother. If you guys have any more super chats or, donations through TikTok or YouTube, because we are live on both platforms, go ahead and drop those. Coke Boys in TikTok actually said something very interesting I want to read. He says, seems like the crew member is trying to get paid even though it's such a low amount for TK. Yeah, it sounds like that, right? It sounds... Listen, I think what often happens, especially in these lawsuits or whatever, I think sometimes there's definitely people trying to get a quick buck, right? Like, I think that's a really fair assessment for sure. I don't know why you would only try to get 25K. If it was so much bigger of a situation, I feel like you would be trying to do so much more. And that's one of the reasons why who knows? I mean, if you guys look at the clip, I can't post the clip live here on TikTok or YouTube due to copyright reasons. But if you look at the clip, Jon Moxley shoves him. And that's it. The guy falls or whatever. I don't know. Like, again, it's just kind of weird to me that it's been 2 years and now the lawsuit is coming to it. So Bori on TikTok says there's got to be more to the story. And I think that's very true. I think there's definitely got to be more to the story, and that definitely makes a lot of sense, right? I think for AEW and really for AEW's sake, there's just so very little detail here when you look at this, right? Like sources within AEW have disputed the characterization of Moxley, telling Sports Illustrated that he is a respected locker room leader. Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it from that perspective, obviously people within AEW are going to come to the aid of Jon Moxley. I don't think that's really the case. For those of you who are now joining us live, basically, long story short, Jon Moxley and AEW are being sued for assault. Let me get this right. Let me read this word for word. A crew member from AEW, Christopher Despensa, is suing AEW and Jon Moxley for negligence, assault, and battery. And it's a civil lawsuit. He wants $25,000 for damages and things of that nature. And obviously, we'll see what happens. We'll see how AEW responds. Am I crazy? Does anybody think, like, maybe somebody could correct me here? Is it weird for me to think that, like, it's June 16th. The lawsuit was filed May 30th? What did I say it was? May 30th, 2025. We're now just hearing about it 17 days later. How has this been floating around without any reports for 17 days? I think that's the real question. And I think that's one of the craziest parts about it. So definitely something that's just like confusing to me. I feel like dirt sheets maybe have known about this. Maybe they don't want to talk about it. I don't know. I don't think this is a lawsuit that really makes AEW look bad. But again, there's really a lack of context. And I think that's probably the biggest issue that I've noticed here. It's like, medical staff told Christopher Dispenza, hey, like, we're not doing this anymore, right? Like, you know, they're stopping the treatment or whatever. He was no longer receiving treatment from them. Like, what's the reason for that? You know, like, what is the reason for that? I think that's a very big thing. So I don't know. I really don't know what that entails. But of course, like, whenever there's a lack of context, I think that's a very big problem. I think that's a very big problem. So we have over 70 viewers live, over 200 viewers on YouTube, 70 on TikTok. So shout out to everybody joining us. This live stream is Wrestling Talk, and we just kicked things off earlier with the Jon Moxley and AEW lawsuit. We talk about things very often here on the channel, and when you guys drop donations or when you guys drop super chats, we do have a super chat goal on the Red app, and with that, we do read all the donations. So hopefully that is a thing that we keep going back with. I want to give some shout outs to people in the chat because honestly, we got two very, very, very active chats between both platforms. So I want to show some love. On the Red app, let's give a shout out to Nats fan, Phil Batway, Sarah Bangar, Pee Wee is here, Brent Philpot, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Brent is a member of the channel. Mike, who is our mod on YouTube, he's trying to save Nightbot. I don't know why I cannot get Nightbot fixed. It is a problem for some reason. Trying to get it fixed. I reached out to their developers and I don't know what the hell is happening with that. Again, shout out to Darth Bane as well, who is also another member. Lloyd Johnson in the chat, Chester Franklin Jr., Michael Graham, David Decker, Barry Brock. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat watching live on YouTube. Wilson Torres had asked in the chat, he says, did you watch Triple Mania? Triple Mania Regia was on yesterday, which I did watch, and it was actually a really awesome event. I liked it. I am so confused by AAA though, because the fans in Mexico are not really the fans in Mexico are not really too keen on they're not really too keen on Vikingo, and they are very, very, very over. What's his name is very over. Del Rio, Alberto El Patron. He is like, I don't know. It's crazy, very crazy to me, how that's all working out. So I thought that was interesting, and who knows, bro? Who knows what's gonna happen? Like, Del Rio is so popular over there. WWE's got to be very careful. So. Shout out to John Galt on TikTok. He's sharing the live stream. Shout out to John. He says, Ango, I've been watching your content for 2 years. You're awesome. Do you like what WWE is doing with Alexa Bliss? Yeah, I think what they're doing with Alexa Bliss is pretty unique. At some point, she's got to be aligned with the YS6. So I think this is kind of the way to get there. We'll see how that goes. I think with WWE and Alexa Bliss, I thought it was really cool what happened on SmackDown, by the way, with Alexa and Charlotte. So, I'm curious to see what that turns into. Obviously, we'll have to give us some time. But shout out to everybody watching. We have over 2,000 likes, 2,100 likes on TikTok. Can we get to 10,000 likes on TikTok? That would be pretty crazy. Shout out to everybody watching us on TikTok. Darth Bane is in the chat and he says, "Oh God, he says looks like we're getting Oldberg tonight." Yeah, guys, Goldberg is coming back to WWE TV tonight. That should be relatively interesting. Goldberg coming to WWE television is something that I think, listen, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be real honest. I think Goldberg versus Gunther makes the most sense. Have Gunther beat Goldberg. I'm okay with it. Not a big deal. Shout out to Mark Bravo on TikTok. He just sent a heart me. I don't really know what that is, but I'm shouting it out because we are simultaneously streaming and I want to show love to absolutely everybody. So thank you for the love, Mark Bravo, excuse me. I appreciate that. The heart me is really cool. And anybody who drops gifts on TikTok, you will get your shout outs as well. Just like we will shout out our good friends on the YouTube Red app. For example, Tolino Channel, he's coming through with a very nice super chat of 40 Indian rupees. And he says, do you think Solo should win the US title Solo versus Fatu? Oh my God, I think this is a wonderful question. Quite frankly, I don't mind if Solo won the US title. I just don't think WWE has the balls to do it. That's really the thing here is I just don't think WWE has the balls to do it. But if WWE wants to have Solo beat Fatu, it could make a lot of sense. I'm really enjoying that storyline personally. I think that's a storyline that has been very, very fun to watch. And I think it's a really cool thing that Jacob Fatu is the babyface. Now I look forward to seeing how they handle it with Solo, Tama Tonga Loa, and perhaps maybe Hikuleo, who wasn't on SmackDown, but Hikuleo was in fact on WWE. He did a dark match before SmackDown. So that is something that I think is very, very interesting. If Solo were to win the U.S. Championship from Jacob Fatu, I would be okay with it, honestly. But it can't happen right away. You got to give Jacob Fatu a pretty lengthy reign, in my opinion. But that would be very fun to see how that happens or how that goes. But again, that should take we should take a little bit of some time until that happens. You know what I mean? So definitely wait and be patient on that. But I'm excited about that. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. I appreciate you, brother. We got 2 super chats down, 3 more to go until we hit our super chat goal, as well as on TikTok. Shout out to Mark Bravo who sent a gift. Really appreciate it. True Flight 11 coming through with a $4.99 super chat. If AEW Collision goes to Thursday, TNA definitely is going to get a new TV deal. And ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about that because AEW Collision could very well be moving nights off of Saturday nights. I did talk a little bit about this in my video today, but it is important that we do have this conversation. Quite frankly, I think there is something really cool and really unique about Collision moving off of Saturday nights. But in reality, what's even better about that is the fact that it might challenge TNA to step up, right? We know TNA is on the verge of getting a new TV deal. We know TNA has potentially something big in the works. The announcement is rumored for Slammiversary, and then the reveal or the debut is for the fall of 2025. Obviously, with TNA's TV deal, I think it's really important that if they get a TV deal, if they go live, if they want to compete with Collision, the one advantage that they will have is that they have that partnership with WWE. And I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? I do not mind the idea of TNA coming to the CW. NXT and TNA have this partnership. There's a synergy between both rosters. It would be really dope for TNA to be on the CW. Imagine if NXT is on the CW on Tuesdays, TNA's on Thursdays. Imagine if they go live and they compete with AEW Collision. I think that would be really dope, in my opinion. I think that would be so damn cool. And I think it would be fun for wrestling fans, bro. Collision being on Saturday nights is not healthy. It is not fun. It's not enjoyable. I don't want to watch wrestling on Saturday nights, bro. If it's a pay-per-view, fine. But on Saturday nights, I want to enjoy my life a little bit. I want to go and I want to watch UFC pay-per-views. I want to watch Canelo Alvarez fight. I want boxing pay-per-views. I don't want to watch Saturday night's main event, an AEW pay-per-view, UFC. It's too much. It's too much, damn it. So I'm cool with the idea that, you know, on AEW Collision, take it off Saturdays, leave it on Thursdays, And TNA will have to figure out the rest because Collision will obviously pose a threat to an extent. But yes, I 1000% support it. 1000% support it. Shout out to True Flight 11 for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you. True Flight also followed up with that, and he says, I enjoy Collision more than Dynamite. Sometimes I do too, bro. Sometimes I do too. So I'm not even going to lie about that. I'm just going to be real honest. Sometimes I like Collision more than Dynamite. It just depends. It's really hard to say. But shout out to True Flight 11. We're just a few super chats away from hitting our goal. I want to show some love to people on TikTok as well because we are getting tons and tons of viewers joining us. We're almost at 3,000 likes on TikTok. So shout out to everybody coming through with that. Maybe we could become one of the top ranked wrestling talk shows on TikTok because everybody's coming through. We're getting tons of new followers. I greatly appreciate that. We're actually getting closer to 20,000 TikTok followers, which is really cool. On YouTube, we're getting closer to 100,000. It's a very fun experience doing this kind of stuff. And I appreciate everybody tuning in and watching us. We go live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. 12 p.m. Monday through Friday. And we will continue to be live this week. David Decker says, did you see the video of Pat McAfee hyping up the Pacers during Game 4? No, I didn't. I stopped watching the NBA Finals. I'm way too busy, and honestly, I just really don't care about NBA anymore. The Pistons aren't there, so it is what it is. Calvin Houston, I thought this was a really cool comment. Calvin says, I've been subscribed for 3 years. Can you discuss what's really going on with Austin Theory? I'm so fed up with how he's being treated. Yeah, I think this is a wonderful question. I think Austin Theory is, he was a Vince McMahon guy, and I think that really hurt him. I think being a Vince McMahon guy has definitely not been to his benefit. I think Triple H likes Austin Theory. I think he will eventually turn babyface. They're obviously teasing it. They're already doing stuff. They've been teasing it for a while. I think, personally speaking, man, I'm gonna just shoot straight here. I think Austin Theory is a victim of Vince McMahon being, forcing him down everybody's throat, and Triple H just kind of has to be careful with that, right? Sometimes guys get pushed incorrectly and it really damages them and it really impacts them. And I feel like Austin Theory has been greatly impacted. Also, I think Austin Theory right now isn't going to be doing too much as a singles guy. So that's why they just keep doing this thing with him and Grayson Waller. They're kind of in limbo, but they're still relevant. So maybe that's really the best way to explain it. I don't think this is a personal thing with Austin Theory. I think he's great. Sometimes what I think they should do is just, if you don't have plans or if you can't do what you want, move him to NXT. I think that would be really dope. But obviously it's just really hard to say whether or not they'll do that. But I think that would be the right call for sure. 1,000,000%. I would just move Austin Theory to NXT, not because he needs development, but let him go out there as a baby face. Let him go out there and maybe hold the NXT championship for a while, and we'll see what happens. But they've definitely been cooking up that story between him and, of course, Grayson Waller. So that does excite me a lot, which I am curious to see how that goes. So yeah, it is what it is. Any other questions, guys? Keep them rolling in the chat. I'm looking at both chats, TikTok and YouTube. Shout out to everybody. We did pass 3,000 likes on TikTok, which is really dope. So shout out to all of you guys on TikTok showing love and making it really clear that you guys are enjoying the show. I really appreciate it. Podcast Red Zone says, what's the lawsuit against AEW? We just spoke about it for a good 20 minutes. But long story short, without the context, AEW and Jon Moxley are being sued for an incident. The filing accuses Moxley of civil assault and battery, and then it further alleges that AEW was negligent in hiring and training Moxley, claiming he has a history of disciplinary issues. Essentially, what happens was there was an incident that led to a crew member of AEW being injured, and now 2 years later, the guy is suing AEW. So, what did I see in the chat? Nats fan says, thoughts on NJPW Dominion. Did you watch it? No, I didn't watch it. To be honest with you, I'm kind of losing my love for New Japan. I know it kind of sounds crazy, but I don't think I'm making the time as much. I don't think I'm making the time as much, honestly, for NJPW. Really cool. Regular Joe on TikTok says WWE needs to bring back Sunday Night Heat. Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. I would love for Sunday Night Heat to come back into WWE television. You know, if they're gonna bring back Saturday night's main event, listen, WWE should absolutely bring back Sunday Night Heat. That should be the pre-show for WWE pay-per-views. But the problem is they don't do pay-per-views on Sunday nights anymore, so that's kind of like a weird thing. But I really do think Sunday Night Heat should come back. I've been saying Velocity and Sunday Night Heat should come back. I think the Cruiserweight division needs to come back. It's just the way it is. I think they need to make some changes. Tolino Channel coming through with a 100 rupee donation. He says, do you think Cena versus Ron on SmackDown will be a good match or just for ratings boost? Maybe John will sell here what he has done to Truth. I am so in love with the story of what they've done with Ron Killings, a.k.a. R-Truth. Him attacking John Cena on SmackDown was really badass, so I thought that was really dope. I'm excited to see how that kind of transcends and goes and just looking at long-term what the plan is for Ron Killings. I think Ron versus John Cena is interesting, but you got to remember that CM Punk and John Cena have their storyline as well. So it's going to get really crazy to see how they tie it up both, because John Cena's in the mix with multiple people, which I think is dope. 100%. I think it's dope. Just got to kind of see how that actually transpires. But I am excited for Ron Killings and John Cena, and I'm excited to see that R-Truth is a much more serious character. And shout out to the WWE Universe, bro, because the WWE Universe, the wrestling fans have come through and they've really killed it. They've really delivered. And now we get something so much better with R-Truth. I just absolutely love it. Shout out to Tolino Channel. Sins dropping a $4.99 super chat. Do you think it's possible for The Miz to poach talent from American Gladiators? I'm eyeing Wardlow and Jessica Roden and J-Rod, a.k.a. J-Rod. Yeah, I don't know if The Miz could poach people from American Gladiators, but if you guys didn't know, American Gladiators is coming back. I saw that Fightful dropped a report the other day, which the report suggested Wardlow and Camille are going to be on the show, and we'll see what this is, but yeah, WWE obviously having The Miz, and then he's hosting the show, but then there's two AEW wrestlers on the show. It's pretty interesting. Regular Joe on TikTok says Wardlow is allegedly already WWE bound once his deal is up. I think so too. I don't see how Wardlow stays in AEW. But who knows? You never know. In wrestling, you can never really know for sure until it happens. And I think that's really the big thing. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, shout out to Hot Tag Wrestling on TikTok for sending me a Heart Me gift. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I still am learning what all these gifts are and what they equate to, but I definitely appreciate that. I'm always going to shout you guys out on TikTok. I don't know what a galaxy is. Somebody told me I should be chasing a galaxy. So if anybody on TikTok knows what that is, maybe you could actually tell me, because sometimes I'd be reading it in the chat and I just don't understand it. But yeah, shout out to Sins for the super chat. I think Wardlow is going to be WWE bound. I think that's for sure at some point. Obviously, you never really know, but that's just kind of the way it is. Shout out to Sins for the $4.99. I want to also give a shout out to Miles. Miles has been a VIP member on the channel for 25 months. Holy shit. Shout out to Miles Jubert Roberson. He says, I'm loving the plan Finn has and play with Roxanne destroying Judgment Day from within. What are your thoughts on where it will head and when it will implode? I would love for the Judgment Day to implode by SummerSlam. But yes, I see it. The writing has been on the wall. The writing has definitely been on the wall. Finn Balor is trying to screw over the Judgment Day, and I love it. Honestly, I was getting so sick and tired, by the way, of the Judgment Day storyline. Now I'm at the point where I am just so excited about it. it has gotten to the point where like it was really falling off. I was complaining about it every day live on this app, like every single day. I was just getting so sick and tired of the Judgment Day. And now that I'm like actually watching it unfold with the Finn Balor and Roxanne situation, it kind of puts some fresh air, some fresh, it gave it a breath of fresh air, which was just really exciting to me. Because obviously I just want the faction to die. It's time for it to end. So how are you going to do it? It's been a while. It's been a while, but they've definitely done it in a certain sense. So I am curious to see how that happens there. Shout out to Miles for being so awesome and being a VIP member for 25 months. You're so awesome, Miles. Thank you. Darth Bane also being a pro member of the channel for 9 months says, whatever happened with the Righteous coming to WWE? That's an interesting thing because there's a lot of rumors about it. A ton of rumors about it. There's a ton of rumors that WWE is looking at bringing them in, but we haven't seen it. And I don't know, maybe was that Karrion Kross and the Righteous kind of working social media to get people thinking it was going to happen? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But it is exciting to me if the Righteous comes to WWE. Hey, how about Private Party as well? Private Party, their contracts are ending soon. WWE reportedly has preliminary interest in it. I think it's a big possibility that we'll see that happen. Honestly, I think it's a very big possibility. Imagine, your tag team division needs a little bit of work. SmackDown's has gotten a lot better. Raw is a little bit shaky. Their tag team division is a little shaky right now. I think if you're WWE, you bring in the Righteous, you bring in Private Party, two totally different tag teams, but two different tag teams that really can help elevate your tag team division. And of course, Private Party would be really dope for NXT. I also think Rey Fenix and Penta will probably be put as the Lucha Bros relatively soon. And when that happens, I think that's going to be a really big deal. Personally speaking, I would be excited about that. Shout out to Darth Bane for being a pro member for 9 months, dude. That is so awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Hot Tag Wrestling said on TikTok, I see Sammy winning King of the Ring in Saudi. What are your thoughts? Is my boy Phil in the chat today? Is my boy Phil in the chat? Because Phil had dropped a really dope theory, which I liked. I thought that was really dope. If he's not in the chat, it's okay. We'll save it for another day because it was his theory. I don't want to take credit for it, but I thought it was really dope. Phil might not be in the chat. I haven't seen him in the chat today, which is no big deal. Sometimes that happens, but shout out to Phil. I think Phil had a very good theory that leads to Sammy not winning King of the Ring, but Sammy winning the Royal Rumble. And it's like a WrestleMania 30-esque type stuff. It was really dope. But again, it's not my theory, so I can't really talk about that. You know what I mean? So. Oh, we got a super chat for $4.99 from Jose Martinez. He says, hey, Ango, I hope you're doing good and hope everything is good over there. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. I can't complain. Last week, I was a little sick, unfortunately. That was kind of like, not sick. I was just dealing with really bad allergies, really bad sinuses, man. And I had to take a little bit of a break from the live streaming because it was starting to like, I just kept sneezing and coughing the entire time. But I'm good now, so that's why we're back 12 p.m. every day. And I can't complain, dude. I can't complain. I'm super excited. Getting my content out, going live, doing the stuff that I love the most. And that's what life is all about, man. Life is too short. Life is all about doing the things that you love. Be a good person. Be a great person, right? It costs absolutely nothing to be a good person. So the way I look at life is short. Be a good person and do the things that you love. And I absolutely love that portion of what I do because I feel like now I really get to just enjoy being a content creator, and it's really fun. And there's so much that I just genuinely love about it. And I want to show some love too to Jose Martinez. Jose, you constantly come through, as well as many others on the show. And sometimes it's nice to just hear, hey man, I hope you're doing good. I appreciate that. You know, it's one thing that we built a community where we come together and we talk about it, and we are very, very nice to each other. And you know, but when you guys ask me about how I'm doing on a personal level, I just really appreciate it. That means a lot. And Jose, I noticed that, you know, many of you guys do it, but Jose, you have been doing it as well. And I just want to say thank you so much for that. It really does mean the world. So shout out to Jose Martinez for the kind words, as well as the super chat. I got to give some shout outs to TikTok, man. Holy shit. This is crazy because we have over 6,000 likes on TikTok Live. 6,000 freaking likes. Dude, guys, can we hit 10,000 likes on the first stream back? Let me know. But holy shit, Brown Dog has come through and absolutely lit it up. He sent a hat. He sent a hey there. He sent a rose, a corn, a heart puff, a goat, a what's up, a lightning bolt, a you're awesome, love you so much, ice cream cone, chili, GG, TikTok, grow a garden, a scarab, what's that? Another corn, another rose, another heart puff, another goat, 2 goats. Brown Dog is just going off with the gifts. This is absolutely insane. This might be the most gifts I have ever received on TikTok, which is absolutely insane. The super chats on YouTube are awesome. The gifts on TikTok are awesome. And Brown Dog really just, oh my God, we have achieved the rose goal. So shout out to you. That was just really cool. And everybody everybody's just going crazy on both chats. I really appreciate you guys, man. This makes live streaming so much fun, and I really just do appreciate that. And again, we just hit 7,000 likes on TikTok, which is really, really, really dope. That might be the highest amount of likes I've ever received on TikTok. So maybe it's a possibility we could hit 10,000, and you know, maybe we hit 10,000, maybe we hit 20,000. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see what happens, obviously. But shout out to everybody. Bonkers LFC just threw up something really interesting on the YouTube chat. And he said something about Jamie Hayter being injured. Yeah, it is true. Jamie Hayter is injured. She's not cleared. Jamie Hayter, bro, what happened? What happened to Jamie Hayter? How did AEW, like, yeah, it's one thing to get injured, obviously. It's a really, really another thing to like get injured, come back, and like not do anything of importance. And obviously we saw her get taken out by Tekla, which was crazy in its own. But dude, it is like, for me, I just really struggle with this whole idea that, you know, WWE and AEW, people get injured, they come back, and they just, I don't know, some people just need to get pushed better, bro. Some people just need to get pushed better. Jamie Hayter, a good example of Tony Khan dropping the ball. I think so. But of course, anytime somebody gets injured, you know, listen, man, I want their health before wealth. Health always comes first. That's always going to be the thing. We're always going to have to talk about that. We're always going to have to mention that. That is always the most important part, health before wealth. So I definitely hope, definitely hope that we see Jamie Hayter healthy and back again. Crazy, man. It is such a crazy situation. Hopefully she's not out for too long, but she is injured again. There is no timetable for return either, which makes it really shocking. I know there was a report that indicated they would feature Jamie Hayter if she was cleared to participate, but because she is currently sidelined, that doesn't appear to be the case. We got a couple more gifts on TikTok as well. Shout out to Big Bearded Mark. He sent a hat and a mustache, as well as Hot Tag Wrestling sent a TikTok times 10. Title gifter. I don't know what that means, but shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. We got Hook in the chat. Definitely a troll, right? We got somebody on the TikTok live chat saying they're going to get a WWE contract, and he's got the Hook profile picture. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I thought that was really funny. So shout out to Hot Tag Wrestling. Shout out to Big Bearded Mark for the love and the gifts. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, you are a troll. I had a feeling you were a troll. Good job, buddy. Looking at the YouTube chat as well. Michael Graham says that Tony Khan doesn't support Jamie Hayter for supporting CM Punk. I don't know. I think that's kind of crazy. I think that would be really crazy if that was the case. You know, I think that would be really silly for Tony Khan to be that kind of guy. If somebody's friends with, you know, Cody or Punk and then you use it as a punishment, that would be really bullshit, but you never really know. Also, I just wanted to show some love too, because on TikTok, we just hit 9,200 likes. 9,273 likes, bro. 9,400 likes. That is crazy. Drew says, I have a custom made belt for you. Send me a message, bro. Send me a message. Let's talk about it. Show me what you made. That would be really dope. Miles said in the chat, you ready for Blake Monroe's NXT contract signing tomorrow? Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Blake Monroe, I think the name is cool. I'm super excited to see what happens. Obviously, with Mariah May now coming to WWE as Blake Monroe, I think everything is dope. So I'm excited about it, bro. I'm super excited to see how they do the contract signing. That should be a very, very interesting thing. So I'm pretty geeked about it. Holy shit, we just hit 10,000 likes on TikTok Live. That is insanity. That is the most likes I have ever had. I told you guys, I told you guys I want to start going live on TikTok, and now we are seeing exactly the reason why. Shout out to everybody watching across both YouTube and TikTok. 10,000 likes. Absolutely insane. Brow Dog is coming through with more and more gifts. This is absolutely insane. Corn, roses, you're awesome. Lightning bolts, all of these different gifts. You guys are absolutely insane, and I really, 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 really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. You guys, Brown Dog and Big Bearded Mark are just spamming gifts on TikTok Live, which is really dope. Thank you guys. And of course, we have to show some love to everybody on YouTube as well, because everybody, you guys are crazy awesome, man. You guys are killing it on the live chat. Everything is so awesome and so beautiful when we're live. Can I show some love to a really interesting thing? David Decker said Brody Lee Jr. is a future Intercontinental Champion. Brody Lee Jr. is the one kid, like, I look forward very much to see what they do with him when, you know, as he gets older. He's training, and just like in his father's footsteps, and he looks like he really loves this wrestling stuff. And obviously Brody Lee Jr. has some really, really great people in his life, Cody Rhodes and so many others. Just really dope to see that. And of course, with Brody Lee Jr. being a kid, obviously it'll take a lot of time, but it's like watching Izzy from the NXT. You know, she was in the crowd, part of NXT, and then she came through, and now she's wrestling in the indies and stuff, which is really dope. So it's kind of nice to see like these young kids like coming up and like they want to train for professional wrestling. I look forward to that, obviously, to see how far they go, and you know, God bless them and good luck, man. It's really cool. I thought that was an interesting comment. I thought that was a very fun comment. Guys, did you see that Damage Control is done? I don't know if you guys knew that. I want to talk about that for a second. Damage Control is essentially going away. Asuka is returning to WWE tonight, and ever since Dakota Kai has been gone, it looks like they are going away from the Damage Control faction. I need to know what you guys think about that, because that to me is pure insanity, bro. I can't believe they're getting rid of Damage Control. I thought Damage Control was sick. So the fact that Damage Control is going away is just like really insane to me. But Big Bearded Mark says, I enjoy the wrestling info you share. Of course, man. That's what I love to do. I love to talk about everything that's happening in professional wrestling, chime in, build a community, and talk about it and share everybody's opinions. And dude, there's so many great things that you can do, man, with professional wrestling, and it's just really dope. And holy shit, we are at 12,000 likes on TikTok. So we have hit 12,000, and Hot Tag Wrestling has subscribed to the TikTok. That's the equivalent of becoming a member on YouTube, which is really dope. Shout out to Hot Tag Wrestling. You are a legend. You are a GOAT. You guys are so awesome. Shout out to everybody, man. Darth Bane in the chat says Damage Control has run its course. Look, man, I think maybe they have run its course a little bit, but I feel like you could still do a little bit more with Damage Control. I think Damage Control is one of those groups where just naturally, like, especially with Io and Kari and Asuka. But who knows? Who knows, man? I really don't know what to expect. It is so hard to say because with Damage Control, you know, do you want Asuka to come back as a heel or a babyface? Like, what do you got cooking up? I don't know. To me, it's just so weird. It's something I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but we'll see how it all goes down. We'll see what they do. And that will obviously be very, very, very interesting to see as it unfolds. But yeah, I know I see some people on both chats saying literally like without Dakota Kai, Damage Control is done. Yeah, I think it's fair. Luis Ponce says the same thing. You know, it's like, yeah, when a member leaves, you know, the problem is though, I wish they kind of explain it. I don't want WWE to insult our intelligence. If Damage Control is done, do a segment. Do a segment talking about the group, like going away, you know? Like, hey, I love you girls. We'll be friends. We all got to focus on ourselves. That's how I look at it, bro. That's how I personally look at it. I think that's really important. You know, that's the way it is. So yeah, the fact that Damage Control is like not a thing anymore. Like Darth Bane said, it's run its course. Yeah, it has. But I feel like you could do something more with Io, Kari, and Asuka all together. Right? Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. Jameson Wells says, Ango, who is one person from AEW you want to go to WWE and one WWE start to AEW? Yeah, I think my answer is probably going to be kind of controversial, honestly. But I think personally, like my own opinion is that I would love, and I'm just throwing this out there because people might not like this, but I would absolutely love the idea of Austin Theory going to AEW. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the stream. Austin Theory has just been damaged because of Vince McMahon. It is very difficult for Triple H to fix that. Austin Theory would be a guy, people forget how good he actually is as a wrestler. Please, please, please go look up compilation videos of Austin Theory wrestling. He is a freaking awesome wrestler. Please don't ever get it twisted. Like, he actually is legit. He is a great wrestler. I would love for him to go to AEW. Just really brush off that Vince McMahon stink that's been left on him for years. Also, from AEW to WWE, I have to say this because it's the thing that, like, it's the match that I want forever. I don't even need a full-time run, but I need Kenny Omega in WWE versus Roman Reigns. It's just the thing that I've been wanting forever. I've been wanting that matchup forever. I need to see that matchup happen at some point. Obviously, it's not a fair trade, right? Kenny Omega to WWE for Austin Theory wouldn't be a fair trade, but it has to happen, bro. It has to happen. Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns is the match. I just need it. It doesn't really matter how we get it, but it's what we need. Shout out to Brown Dog for the heart meat as well. Excuse me. My throat is dry. Just yapping and yapping and yapping. Your boy's gonna need some water. I should have been a little bit more prepared. Woo! Give me a second, guys. Sorry about that, y'all. Holy shit. For tomorrow's live stream, I'll have like 10 water bottles waiting for me. I don't need no hot chocolate, man. I just need some cold ass water. I just been talking and talking and talking. Appreciate y'all. You guys are so funny. Thanks for being patient with me. We're at 13,000 likes on TikTok. That's crazy. All right. Wow. So sorry about that, guys. Holy shit. My eyes are watering. That's how funny that was. What a day, bro. What a day. If we have any other super chats that we got to read, go ahead and drop those now. It is 1 p.m. Eastern. We hit 14,000 likes on TikTok, bro. 14,000 likes on TikTok. We hit our super chat goal on YouTube as well. Holy shit. Shout out to everybody. Absolutely everybody coming through. So many new followers and subscribers. Shout out to Hot Tag Wrestling, Big Bearded Mark, Brown Dog. Man, you guys really went off with those gifts. Mark Bravo, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Tolino Channel, Jose Martinez. Oh my gosh, dude. Thank you all, everybody. Crazy, bro. Crazy. Yeah, perfect, man. It's 1 p.m. I'll have more content out later today. I appreciate everybody being here. Loving this format, bro. Going live on YouTube, going live on TikTok. Really appreciate you guys being there and showing love. Shout out to Darth Bane. Shout out to Sins. Shout out to Miles, Jubert Roberson, Tolino Channel, True Flight, Seifa Malak. Shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to everybody, man. We'll be back tomorrow live on TikTok and on YouTube, 12 p.m. We'll talk more wrestling. It's going to be a great, great week ahead. Trust me, the Ango Show's got you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. And shout out to my top fans on the community board, Chester, Dolph, and Sharon. Thank you all for your love and support. With that being said, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow.